For this project, our team chose to do a kinetic and kinematic evaluation of wearing a backpack under different circumstances. And we modeled this off of the idea that wearing a backpack tightly to your body versus loosely hanging would create different loading scenarios. And so our specific research question during this research was looking at the moment that was produced around the lower back at the L5-S1 joint.
For this project, we decided that we wanted to collect our own data. So we went into Goddard Hall 207 and we used the 3D force plate and the AMTI software. We also used Microsoft Excel, ImageJ, and 2D video motion capture. In order to carry out this project, we loaded a backpack with 25 pounds tightly against the body for 10 seconds and then repeated with a loosely hanging backpack. The data was collected with a force plate and video motion capture data with markers on the person's body. We analyzed the data using Microsoft Excel for forces and stability, and then we analyzed it using ImageJ for internal moments around the L5-S1 joint. Here you can see the calculations for the moment, and we had a much higher moment in the loosely hanging backpack than the tight backpack, which was consistent with what we expected.
So for our data presentation, on the left, you can see the total force versus time graphs for a tight backpack and the total force versus time graphs for a saggy or loose backpack. Here we can see that the subject was stable when standing, and any deviation from the force was due to a sway in the subject. This shows that the backpack's location does not affect the ground reaction force, and the same force will be seen on the force plate. To the right, the angles show you that the posture for a loose backpack is worse than that of the posture of a subject with a tight backpack, showing that there is an increased moment about the L5-S1 joint with a loose backpack, which is consistent with our hypothesis.
So as you can see, the average force on the force plate between the two different loading scenarios were about the same, with only 3 Newton difference. However, the moment created by the backpack about the lumbar is different, which is consistent with what we expected, showing that a loosely hanging backpack puts more of a moment on your lumbar. And then you can see on the right that the angles 1 and 4 had about a 15-degree difference between them, which are the upper body and the hip, which is consistent with what we expected because the loosely hanging backpack had more of a stress on the upper body, whereas the angles 2 and 3 for the ankle and the hip and the leg were about the same between the two scenarios.